Extreme Collectibles here. I have this piece set up a little bit more towards the middle of the table just because it's so heavy. I'm also going to kind of do a condensed review because I got the second batch of these, and as you guys probably already know, there's quite a few good reviews out there already. But I've made a vow to myself to review every new piece that I have coming in, so I decided to do it. This was a waitlist impulse buy mainly for one reason. But let's get into it to talk about it. Extreme Collectibles here with Prime 1 1/3 scale Batman Hush exclusive. I bought this piece a little bit late to the game. I jumped on the wait list. The reason why I jumped on the wait list for this is because I knew it was a phenomenal piece. There was something about the pose I didn't like, and that was really the only thing. But the thing that made me pull the trigger was the price point. For a piece like this, traditionally and especially lately, it seems like the price points are about 30 to 40% higher than this is. So I thought for that price you really can't go wrong. This is part of my big 1/3 Prime 1 DC line. I have about probably 20 to 25 pieces, an entire room that's being dedicated to it. There are 1,000 of the collector's edition made, and then 750 of the exclusive, I believe. Retailed right at $1,000, $10 more for the exclusive. I did get this through Sideshow, one of my last pieces through Sideshow. Thankfully nothing was wrong with it other than some gaps and seams, which I don't know if that's a production issue, but we're going to talk about that in a second. Really quick, one really cool thing with the exclusive, lots and lots of different display options, which for me as a collector, I do like when I get it out of the box. However, I rarely change it up. So I have drawers and drawers and drawers and drawers and drawers full of extra heads and arms and weapons and God knows what. So that sounds like a serial killer. I have drawers full of heads and weapons and arms and legs and God knows what. But let's take a look at some of the switch outs. So first of all, we have 3 portraits. The first portrait here is kind of a stoic, serious face Batman with some facial hair here, which is actually sculpted on and painted, so really cool. And then you have one that I don't like this at all, to be honest with you. I know a lot of people do, but he's kind of being a smartass, a smirk. To me, it just doesn't fit my Batman. Hashtag not my Batman. And the last one I will definitely display him with is the open mouth, more menacing in the midst of battle. You have 3 switch out options for his left hand. The first is just a basic closed fist that you see right here. The second is actually part of a connecting piece to the right arm holding a batarang and the wire, which I probably will never use. And the third is the Green Lantern ring. I just said that to piss all you guys off. The third is the Kryptonite ring. Then on his right hand, he has that same connection piece with the batarang to the left hand. And then, of course, he has a standard batarang in the right hand. So lots of different switch outs, lots of different ways to display him. I'm going to display him like this, at least for now. I wonder if he looks bigger because he's closer to the camera. As it gets closer to you, it gets bigger. You know what? You know what's going on. It's really early. It's Sunday morning and I got up at 4 a.m. because I get up early and we got a lot to do today and I just wanted to get some reviews and stuff out of the way. But came in 2 boxes. The base is 1 piece minus Joker's gun on the back, which we'll get a close-up of that. Batman minus his cape, head, and arms is all 1 piece. Went together really well, except the cape is not sitting flush in, so when I move this over next to Hush Superman, I'll reattempt to get it in, but there's a gap you see here. And then the head sculpts also seem to have a gap. I'm hoping that it can fix by moving it. Other than that, no issues, which is good because Sideshow doesn't have any replacement parts, or so they seem to say. But yeah, really cool piece. Let's jump right into the concept and design. And of course, we're not going to talk too much about this. Go check out some other reviews if you really want to get in depth. But Batman is sitting here on top of building a pedestal like he is in many, many Batman displays. I'm actually looking at two of them right behind the camera that he's doing something similar, but they're more of a museum type pose. I would consider this an action dynamic pose. He's about to fight, obviously, with the Kryptonite ring. We assume he's fighting a Kryptonian, whether that's Superman or Doomsday, or you can really play it however you want. And, you know, it's interesting that the only weapon he has is a batarang. Good luck. Oh, this is going to be a crazy review. But really dynamic pose. His cape is flowing in the wind, so he either just jumped or it's a really windy day. Maybe he's in Chicago. I was in Chicago last week. My God, my car was blowing off the road. I go there like 3-4 times a year, but and some of my best friends live there, who actually just introduced them to my YouTube channel here, so I don't know if they'll watch it. Their kids might be watching it. And they found out I go there 3 or 4 times a year, not the one time a year when I only tell them and visit them. But we had a great time. But that's not about statues at all. So very cool pose, classic Batman. He has some gargoyles underneath here. I assume those are, I don't even know what those are. Those aren't gargoyles, but they could be gargoyles. Maybe someone can let me know what they are, some Batman nut who's watching this. So cool concept, cool design. I'm hesitant about the cape. I know some other reviews I watched, I had some trouble getting him in, so maybe it is user error. But there's a lot of engineering that comes to having a sculpted cape that is that large flowing off to the side. And to be honest with you, as I have this, it makes me really happy I have the fabric cape Hush Superman instead of the sculpted one, because I imagine it'd be similar issues. So let's jump right into the paint and the sculpt of this piece. And again, I'm going to kind of rush through this because I think there's some other really great reviews out there and just kind of give my overall thoughts. But starting with the base here, first, I think it's a miss on the base like a lot of the other reviews. It looks good. It doesn't look amazing. It doesn't look as amazing as Batman, especially on the front. It just looks dull. I think they should have used more texture. I think they should have used some different colors to kind of highlight it. There's this wet effect a few different places. It's cool. I wish it would have been a little bit more because it's a nice thought, but it's kind of almost an afterthought to me. I like the back of the base quite a bit more, the stones and the cobble. Those look better than the pillars on the front of the base. And the animal heads, whatever those are, the gargoyles, I don't like. They look kind of dull and worn. And then the base again takes up too much space. So I think there was an opportunity for there. And then here's the Joker gun. I forgot to show that. The Joker gun, kind of a cool, neat Easter egg. But again, to me, conceptually, it's kind of a stupid afterthought. It's like, it doesn't really make sense. It's on the back. It would have been fine without. It gives you that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling inside, but that's about it. But moving on to Batman, he is really, really good. That's just a spoiler. Starting with the cape on the back, I really like the flow of it. I like the sculpt. I like some of the texture in it. I wish they would have used a little bit different on it because something seems missing on it, and I can't really put my finger on what it is. It's definitely not the sculpt. It's not the flow. It's something with the coloring. But it looks good. His boots look phenomenal. Not only the tread here on the bottoms, but the boots themselves, it's the same colors as the cape, and I like the seams, and I love how many different folds they were able to get into them, or into the boots with the sculpt with his dynamic pose. And very similar thoughts to his costume all over his body. Some really cool folds, and you see the seams in there, but it has this awesome texture, which is almost overpowering, to be honest with you, but not quite. It's almost at that line. And I think they did a fantastic job. But what's really cool is the anatomy below the clothing that they sculpted in. He's the perfect anatomy for Batman. I think from the thigh muscles And then you see here his torso, his six-pack, and his chest. There's the bat signal, looks fabulous on it. Here's his biceps and triceps. And again, that same fabric sculpt throughout all of that. Some seams on the side here. His belt looks fantastic. I love how they bent one of the pouches. So it's real great sculpt on it. I wish they would have done the colors a little bit differently. I don't like that particular color of yellow, and I wish they would have had maybe something, a pouch open with something coming out of it. And then looking at his ass, again, you got some wrinkles and some folds. And he's leaving it wide open for Joker's gun, which is kind of scary. His gloves look fantastic. You can see some of his veins below. Again, similar color to the boots and the cape, but it doesn't have as much of that black in there. And then his fingers and his batarang. There's a little bit of paint issue on my ring. My kryptonite ring here. You see it kind of overflowing, but I guess that is what it is. Then moving up to his sculpt, fabulous face sculpt. I love even the folds in the neck of his cowl. And then around his ears on the side, you can see his ears sculpted through it, and then the creases right above his eyes. His eyes are that solid white color. And again, this cowl doesn't have the texture on it that the boots or the cape had, and it doesn't have as much of that black. And then look at his mouth sculpt. This is phenomenal. This is really, really good. Not only the stubble that's sculpted in there and then painted, but the flesh tones they used, and then the coloring on the bottom of his lip, and then his teeth. I would have thought Bruce Wayne would have had a little bit better teeth, but apparently not. But they look real, so. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Write me a comment on this guy if you decided to pull the trigger. What other 1/3 scale Batmans you like. Please let me know that, and please hit that bell when you subscribe so you know whenever stuff like this is going up. I'm sorry I didn't have more jokes today. Remember, it's early in the morning. Even though the Joker and his ass, I thought that was funny. But even though I didn't laugh, so you probably didn't laugh either. Now I'm just rambling, so you can definitely tell I'm tired. So I'm going to go put this in next to Batman Hush, and then I'm going to film my next segment, which will be airing on Wednesday. I have no idea when this will air. You better just pause and stop now, because I don't know if I can stop talking. Take care.